Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm here to preview Newcastle United's trip to Everton on Thursday night in the Premier League. The fixtures keep coming and I keep making these videos and I'm really enjoying doing that. So I'm back again to look ahead to that game and also react to Eddie Howe's media conference this morning. He just spoke to the press. I'm currently on BBC Sports News. Mainly, I think the big thing to take from it is that Nick Pope, we kind of knew, there were whispers around 4 or 5 months that he'd be out from a dislocated shoulder against Manchester United. That's been pretty much confirmed that he'll need surgery, which again isn't a surprise given the nature of the injury. It's a big shame because Nick Pope's a really good goalkeeper. He's in the form of his life. Spoke to him last week in PSG, and yeah, real big shame for him. He's a great guy, and Martin Dubravka is one of the best deputies you can get in the Premier League at the moment. So I think he'll do absolutely fine. Starting with Thursday at Everton, then Sunday against Tottenham as well. See how sort of distance himself from the idea of strengthening in January with another goalkeeper coming. Obviously, David De Gea has been linked. Aaron Ramsdale's been linked. I think a goalkeeper is something for a bit further down the line, but not January. I'm not convinced that'll happen. I'm not convinced it'll take priority. News from last week that came out just as I uploaded my Manchester United Anthony Gordon video. Newcastle have been drawn away to Sunderland in the FA Cup third round, which is absolutely amazing. First time since the 1950s that that's happened. First game since 2016. That draw at St James's Park stopped Sunderland going 7 wins in a row, which would have been absolutely catastrophic for Newcastle. A very, very different situation now. And as Eddie Howe said, there's a lot of games to go before we can really focus on that game. So in that spirit, I'll park that till later, till after Christmas. But huge news that Newcastle will be facing Sunderland early next year in the FA Cup third round. Players are getting closer. I don't think Sven Botman, there was a little bit of talk that he'd be fit. I think he's more likely to play against Spurs than Everton, possibly Fulham as well after Milan. Who knows? But I don't think he'll be fit for Everton. Same with Sean Longstaff. I think there's a bit of a question over his fitness and whether he'll manage to make it for this game. But Louis Miley again showed just how good he is, and show that there is no real need at the moment to, apart from numbers, to rush anybody back, in particular in the midfield, in particular Sean Longstaff. I think he's shown why he's so impressive. Obviously, it'd be a massive boost to have Sean Longstaff back because he's so vital to the way Newcastle have been playing, and it would almost give another option to Eddie Howe. But the fact that Louis Miley's come in and done so well is a real plus for Newcastle going into that game. Everton are in a good position at the moment despite their 10-point deduction, which they've now appealed. It feels a bit harsh for me that the 10-point deduction, but Everton are generally they look like they've improved. They don't look like they'll be in a relegation battle if they can avoid. If they can appeal the 10-point deduction. But even without it, I think the situation at the bottom with Sheffield United, Luton and Burnley all really struggling to impose themselves on the league probably means that Everton will probably be fine anyway. They've been much better away from home, though. That's the crucial thing. They've not really picked up too many points at home. They were beaten by Luton earlier this season at Goodison Park. So Newcastle, it's like most games, it's about them imposing themselves on the game and them showing what they can do to get the victory. I think if Newcastle turn up and play at their best, they'll probably get the victory. But I do think this will be a much tougher game than it was in April last year when they won 4-1 at Goodison. The really positive thing about that Manchester United game was the fact that they'd come off that game against PSG where they were chasing the ball for the majority of the second half. And that big game against Chelsea as well, the same team had played in exactly the same way. Their fitness levels are incredible. They didn't look like they looked like they'd been off for 2 weeks, and that was a really impressive point to that game that I think stands them in good stead when they head to Everton and they head to Tottenham without more players coming back. It's a real challenge to keep that up, but I think we've seen with Newcastle that they've taken these things in their stride. You wouldn't expect it to take much of an issue going into this game. Dominic Calvert-Lewin might be in the squad. We're waiting for an update on Everton later on from Sean Dyche. But Newcastle will really fancy their chances going into this game. I think Anthony Gordon, when he went back to Goodison last time, it was a big talking point. It wasn't really mentioned in Eddie Howe's presser earlier. It was the huge talking point. I was at that presser, and it was a huge talking point that time, and he really backed him to to put it behind him. At this point, it's a little bit different, because then he was on the periphery. He was struggling to impose himself at Newcastle generally. Now he's really the talisman of the team, as I sort of mentioned in my previous video. So you can expect him to have a huge impact on this game and really sort of make a point to the Everton fans and to Everton, who you know, that 45 million that Newcastle spent him in January is not the overinflated price that they thought it was at the time. So really, really big game for him. I think Newcastle go into this game with huge confidence and really should take the victory if they turn up really well. I think the fact that Everton are so much stronger away from home than at home really puts them in good stead. It's a short video for me here. I'll be back on Friday to both look back at the Everton game and preview the Tottenham game as well. Please continue to like, share and subscribe. This is the sort of thing you like, and I'll see you next time.